to be super easy and accessible DIYs that almost anyone can make for their guinea pigs, or even for like your friends' guinea pigs for Christmas maybe. If you have guinea pigs, you probably have all of these things. If you don't have guinea pigs, you probably have 80% of these things. This toy is going to be the simplest and the fastest. You may have seen it around. It's a classic, but I'd be crazy if I didn't mention it. It's another ball, but all it needs is a toilet paper roll. The first step, fold this in half just to make it easy to cut. And then you're going to cut this into like 5 strips. But when I say strips, you want them to end up still being circles. So you are going to cut like this. So this is the top and this is the bottom that are still folded. You're going to cut like this. And then you'll have a bunch of little circles. All right? So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It might only be 5. Different toilet paper rolls are different sizes and lengths, so it doesn't matter. This is such a simple DIY that different sizes are totally fine. What you're going to do now, form these back into circles, and then you're just going to kind of like smush them together. You'll see what I mean. I don't really know how to explain it, but you're going to basically put them inside of each other. Just like that. And what you're going to see is if you put them each in like different directions, it'll start to form a little ball. Go. You can do it. Get in there. All right. It's okay if you kind of have to smush it and stuff. You can reform it at the end. And you don't have to have used all the strips. Like I could have used with one less strip if I wanted to. But now you have sort of a cubic sphere sort of shape. And you can just give it to them like this. Or you can stuff some food and treats and stuff inside of it. Even if you just stuff one treat inside of it, they're going to smell that treat and they're going to try to get to it. Which means either pulling the toy apart, chewing it, whatever. It's going to be some good enrichment, some good fun for them. But if I'm just going to take a treat, shove it inside. Get in there. Now the cool thing about this ball is that it has like so many different like crevices and lines and things that you can put treats in a bunch of different places, and you can put a bunch of different kinds of treats in it. For example, if you wanted to use hay, rather than just sticking the treat in the very center, you can also put it like right here. There's like all these little additional spots to put things. See how it's only on the top? It has a bunch of different kind of fun ways that you can put treats in it. See, so like it has a couple different treats in a couple different spots. And so that's a great food toy or just general toy for them. I hope you're not tired of balls yet, because this next one is another food ball. It's going to be pretty simple. Basically just made out of cardboard and a tiny bit of string or stick, something to hold it together. You're going to start out just making a bunch of circles in varying sizes. So the biggest circle you make is going to be the middle of your food ball. So here's my biggest circle, and basically what I'm going to do is make a couple circles that are slightly smaller than this one. So you can trace it out if that helps you. I'm just going to trace out this circle, and then when I cut it, I'll just make it a tiny bit smaller than the actual circle that I drew. So I drew the circle, and then I'm just going to cut right on the inside of it. And that way that I know that the circle will just be a tiny bit smaller than that one. You can see the size difference. And I'm not making it perfect. You can if you want to. If you want to like use something that actually is a circle, like a coaster or something to help you, just to make it a little cuter, that's fine. But trust me, your guinea pigs are not going to care if this is a perfect circle or not. So why should I? We're going to do that one more time to make one more that's very similar to this. So I'm going to take the big circle again, draw it out, and cut just inside that one more time. So now I have these two that are fairly similar. Not perfect, it's fine, but they are both smaller than this one, and that is the important thing. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do basically the same thing, but we're gonna make it smaller than the smallest ones that we have now. So you're gonna make an even smaller one, but you're gonna do it the same way. So take your second circle. Actually, I'm gonna take the one that's slightly prettier, and you are now going to draw that one. And I'm gonna cut that one out. I'm gonna cut, again, slightly smaller than the circle that I drew, so that I know that this circle is going to be a little bit smaller. There we go. Do that one more time. Again, cut just slightly smaller. These ones are actually way closer together than the first two that I made. So perfect, now you have these smaller ones. And you can probably figure out what the next step is gonna be. Now we are going to take this one and draw it and make two more slightly smaller circles. So making it slightly smaller again. Bam, got a tiny circle. And make one more of those. Now you should have 5 circles. You have a big one, 2 similar ones that are slightly smaller, 2 similar ones that are even smaller, and then 2 similar ones that are the smallest. If you want, you can do another one, but the smaller the circle is, the harder the next step's gonna be, so you'll see. Now that you have these, if you put them together, you'll see that they kind of look like a ball, but there's one more step to making it look more like a ball. So now you are going to just make very small cardboard circles. If you're gonna use a hole punch like I am, you want it to be bigger than this, so don't make it like too small. It needs to be big enough that you can still make a hole in it. If you do have something to draw circles with, this will probably be a lot easier, but they don't need to be perfect circles either, because you're not really going to see them very much. So I'm just going to freehand cut out a bunch of circles. So you're going to need one to go in between each of these layers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're going to cut out 6 small pieces of cardboard. Like I said, these don't have to look good by any means. You'll barely see them. 1. So mine are kind of going to be circular squares. And 6. I am gonna round them off just a little bit so they don't look absolutely terrible. Now they kind of look like circles, right? Get that out of the way. Okay, so we have 6 of these little cardboard circles. And these are gonna go in between each of these. So now, with the last cutting step, but it'll be way easier if you have a hole punch. If you do not have a hole punch, you can use like a large needle. You can use really anything sharp, you know, you can use like a pen, whatever, a crochet needle, something like that. If you're young, ask your parents for help or ask them for a tool that they recommend. If you are using something like a needle and stabbing it, they can be a lot more dangerous than you think, even if the thing is not super sharp. Stabbing things is dangerous. So I'm going to cut a hole in between every single one. Depending on how thick your cardboard is, this might be a little hard. Also, just realize this hole punch is actually really tiny, so it's not going to go to the middle, so I am going to have to cut the middle circle. You want to cut your hole right in the middle. I'm actually going to use scissors. Put the holes in the little ones. Man, those holes are so beautiful. So much better than the ones that we cut by hand. Look at that. Oh, so nice. So now you're going to string all the circles together. So lay them out in the order that they go. So the order that they go is the biggest one in the middle, and then 2 of the little tiny ones beside it, and then the next biggest ones beside that, 2 more little tiny ones beside that, medium, next smallest ones beside that, last 2 tiny ones beside that, and then the smallest large circles beside that. And this is the order that you're going to string it in. This is the order that you're going to string it in. So you can use a string or a stick. I'm going to use a stick because that way it'll be like fully edible. Now I'm going to use a string for a couple of these DIYs, and when it comes to strings and how safe they are, you just want to look at what they're made out of. So if they are a natural fiber, like a lot of twine is a natural fiber, like the brown twine that you see. If it is like natural cotton, something like that, then it should be safe. Your guinea pigs are probably not going to be inclined to really chew it, but if they chew a little bit, it'll be totally fine. However, you do not want them chewing a synthetic fiber. So generally synthetic fibers are plastic. You do not want your guinea pigs to be chewing on plastic. Obviously, they do sometimes, like they'll chew on their plastic hides. It's not the end of the world. But since we're specifically making toys for them, these are things that we want them to be able to mess with their mouth, to play around with, to chew on. So we especially want these things to be safe for them to ingest because we're going to be encouraging them to do so. I'm going to use a stick. You can use twine, it'll just be like a little more loose. I have an apple stick. Any stick from like a fruit tree is a great option. If you actually have like an apple tree in your backyard, you can literally cut a branch off and use it. Or like an orange tree, something like that. I didn't notice these have like little holes in them so that you can like put them on toys. That's so cute. We're actually gonna make a toy later that would be perfect for. I can add these on. But okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna string this along. So there's the outside. And you're gonna push it all the way through. You're gonna have them right next to each other. Put on the next little one. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is center it on the stick. Now you can see why I used like a little stick and not a big one. It's because this is not a very wide toy. And there you go, you're all done. Now you can kind of adjust this to, you know, make the spaces in between bigger, wider, or smaller, whatever you want to do. If you want, you could have, of course, put more circles on here. If you wanted to make it have even more spots, it's totally up to you, totally customizable. But now what I like to do with this is to pop some veggies in it, pop some foraging mix in it, some hay in it, whatever you'd like. And then just give it to your guinea pigs as this cute little food toy, but it's also kind of like a little rolly ball. You know, it kind of moves around. How cute is that? Adorable. It triples as a food toy, a chew toy, and just an enrichment toy. And next we're gonna make this stuffed toy and this hanging toy. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video.
Just trying to catch it. Oh.
If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like. I know everyone says that, but it really does help the all-knowing algorithm to push my videos out to people just like you who might also benefit from it. If you try one of these toys, let me know in the comments down below. And even better, I would love it if you sent me like a video or a picture, DM me on Instagram. I would love to see your DIY toys that are inspired by this video. Wait, that's actually so fun.